10 signs you are a people pleaser. Now, being a people pleaser can seem very nice at first. It's like you just want to help people, you just want to do everything for them, but then you kind of feel awkward when nothing is coming in return. And actually, in the end, people pleasing can kind of really hurt us. This is something that I've been struggling personally for my whole life, basically. And I am working on it still because we are all working on something. Only just recently I really realized that people pleasing was really holding me back in my self-love journey and in finding my power again. So I wanted to share with you these signs, and if you relate to them, then put something down in the comments so we can have a conversation. For those who are returning, thank you for watching my video again. And for those who are new, hi, I'm Jo. I'm here to inspire and share in hopes of you creating a better view on yourself and on your life. I'm a peer support specialist in Belgium, which means I assist people in their healing for people who have some psychiatric difficulties. And I'm also studying to become a coach, which will come quite soon. And I'm planning to niche down to people who are struggling with their self-esteem, because that's the subject in which I am most passionate. So let's just begin with sign number 1, that you're a people pleaser. And this is like you are constantly afraid of hurting people. You're always afraid to say the wrong thing, you know, as if somebody is constantly watching over you and observing what you do and then creating points of how good or bad you were. You are always busy thinking about how did I act, how did I do, did I not hurt somebody? Or you get like very distressed when you hear about somebody who you have hurt, and you might take that all upon yourself and really internalize it and think you didn't do well. Or if you don't receive the love back that you've given to somebody, you are very afraid that you might have done something wrong, and you start to reevaluate who you are, and you start to overthink your actions, and you're just constantly always observing them, which can also lead to self-esteem issues. So I've struggled with this as well, and the truth is that we cannot be good to everybody, okay? That's just a way too high of an expectation to place on yourself, you know, because every action has a consequence, and sometimes you can do something with a good intention, but it might be received badly. And that's just how it is. That's the theory of communication. So it's normal. It's completely fine to not always be able to help somebody, okay? Some people also cannot hear your message or cannot receive your love. So don't take it too personally. It's just that you don't need to put such a high expectation on yourself. You really don't. It's normal to hurt people from time to time. And as long as you know that wasn't your intention, then, you know, why be mad at yourself? Why think you're a bad person? Sign number 2 that you're a people pleaser is that you might have a hard time with critique or with feedback in general, okay? When you are receiving some kind of feedback, you always want it to be very positive because you really don't want to do anything bad, like we talked about before. And when somebody comes with a critique, you can also really internalize it and think that you didn't do good, and then just punishing yourself all over again in your head. It's like this obsession with pleasing people, with being good, and you are really embarrassed when somebody is giving you critique. But actually, critique can be kind of helpful, you know? We are not perfect, and critique is actually something that can really help us out in the long run. You don't have to be ashamed. In my job, we have to get feedback all the time, you know? So I really had to learn how to deal with that and how to not take it personally and see it for the opportunity that it is to grow, okay? Some people just give critique because they want to critique, and there is sometimes feedback that is not really valuable. So you will have to figure out with your intuition with which feedback you can do something. But feedback is a natural process of life, and everybody gets critique once in a while. Even the most famous people, you know, they probably get the most critique. So it is normal, and just don't make this too seriously inside of your head, okay? Try not to feel too guilty about the critique that you have. You are always empowered to change, And if the critique is not really something that you resonate with, or you don't really see why they said that, then you can just even let it go, okay? The third sign that you are a people pleaser is that you feel small. You feel very small in comparison to other people. You feel like your voice maybe doesn't really matter, or you feel like you should be small to make other people shine more. You're really afraid to like take up space or something. You're always thinking about what other people need and never about you and what you have to say, you know? So you kind of just keep small, and then you know you are safe because you want everybody kind of to like you. You really don't want to bother any people, so you keep yourself really, really small. And actually, that's not really good for your mental health, you know, because you are allowed to take up space, you're allowed for your opinion, and let me tell you, people will appreciate you more in the long run if you really stand up for how you feel and what you think, okay? You really need to have this self-concept, okay? Because when we people please, sometimes we can kind of forget who we are because we are always externally in tune with others but not with ourselves, and actually that's just not really an attractive quality, and I had to learn the hard way about that. Also, in being small, you can definitely not really gain respect from people. People are just going to treat you like a doormat after a while and think like, oh, this person, yeah, she kind of does everything, she's just somebody who really follows, so whatever, you know, and you kind of become the person that everybody is like coming to, but actually you're very overwhelmed at the same time, and after a while you will just literally break down because you have been asking too much of yourself. And the truth is that we are all equal in essence. We are all equal, and keeping yourself so small is just not really helpful, also not for the other people, because you really do have some nice things to say, okay? You really do have intelligence, you are really able to take up that space and really communicate what you are feeling. And especially if you're working in a team, it can always be very, very valuable to not just be a yes man, you know? People have opinions and humans are humans, and just try not to make yourself so small that people can walk all over you, because it will end bad for both parties actually. People are not really learning to take their responsibility, their accountability, because they can always come to you. But you are not really learning or developing anything because you are always concerned with the external and not with yourself. Sign number 4 that you might be a people pleaser is that you actually had an absent parent or something. You did not receive enough love in your childhood maybe, and you felt like the only way to get that love was to just constantly please your parents, make your parents happy over and over again. Just to win their love, you know, it was like a kind of survival strategy, you know, if I just do everything they want and I will be seen, I will be heard. But that was then and now is now, because if you continue to people please and to try to win them over, you know, then you will never actually create a very authentic connection, because you are putting so high expectations of yourself and you just kind of want to be this angel, this person that is forever helping other people. But the truth is you will get so drained after a while, and it's just really not healthy at all. And people who are attracted to you when you are acting like really small and everything, and they really get something out of that, that's usually because they are wanting to use you, okay? It's not because of real love. They are in love with your serving, you know? They are in love with what you do for them, but not for you, because you don't actually show who you are, because again, you're very concerned with the other person and with their opinions, and not really at all with how you feel and what you think, okay? Sign number 5 that you're probably a people pleaser is that you always feel like you're not good enough. And this is kind of the same as feeling small in comparison to other people, but it's like again with that obsession of like, I really want to be the best person ever for everybody, and when that doesn't happen or it doesn't really get returned to you, then you kind of start panicking and feeling like you're unworthy. Like, what am I doing wrong? Why am I still not winning love from people? I've been doing this my whole life and still I get nothing in return. You know, you really start thinking like that, because you kind of want to if you had an absent parent, you just kind of want to heal that trauma. You want to prove to yourself that through being good, that this strategy works, you know, because this is the only strategy that makes sense to you, because that is how you survived in childhood. But now there's a completely different time, and the truth is that people who do not feel good enough and just kind of want to do everything for everybody else and forget themselves in the whole entire process do not really establish authentic connection, or do not really find people who really care for them. They only find people who care for what they do for them. Sign number 6 that you are a people pleaser probably is that you seek a lot of external validation. And I think you could already tell that we were going to come to this point, because you just want validation from others because you cannot give it to yourself. And this is just a never-ending battle, okay? Because if you always try to find the love externally, it doesn't really work, because at some point or another, it's maybe this validation is not really accessible anymore because you have parted ways with somebody. I was together with a man, and I always looked for external validation with him. So every night I would ask, like, do you still love me? Am I still okay? You know, and we did these questions for, I think, about like 2.5 years. I did these questions with him, and he would always answer positively, you know, nothing was wrong. But for some reason, I still was not feeling fulfilled at all. And you know why that is? It is because self-love comes from the inside and not from the outside. So after a while, that relationship just ended because I felt like something was missing. I still didn't feel good. I was expecting him to make me feel like I am worthy, while all the while my worthiness is something that I had to find within myself. And that's what I found after that relationship ended. So it's really important that we learn to cultivate this from within and not from without, because you cannot expect people to keep continuing giving you validation. It's also really exhausting for them, you know. It was really exhausting for my ex-boyfriend, I can tell you that. Sign number 7 that you are a people pleaser is that you cannot say no, okay? So if you are, for example, somebody asks you to help with moving or something, and you're really exhausted, you're not down to do that, you want some time for yourself, but you cannot say no because you have this high expectation of yourself that you have to help people no matter what, to be accepted, to be valued, you know. But in not saying no, you are again completely forgetting yourself into the whole process. And this is not healthy, because after a while you're not going to be able to help no more, because you're gonna have some kind of breakdown, you know, because you have been overextending yourself to other people, because you so much crave this validation that your energy will be so drained at the end of it that you cannot really do anything. And what happens then? You feel guilty, you feel like a bad person all over again. But take it from me that you really need rest sometimes, and that it's completely okay to say no. It's completely okay. I was raised by a mother who also couldn't say no, even to me. And so I got a lot of things at home, like a lot of material things. And she never said no, and she lost a lot of money because of that. And even sometimes she took it out on me, you know, why can you not be happy with this one toy? Why are you not, you know? And then she was like kind of projecting everything onto me, because she was feeling really bad that I always wanted more and more. And she was like, can I be enough for you now? Like, I did so much for you, you know? And that's a bit of an unhealthy dynamic, of course, because as a child, you're like, okay, fine, I want this, I want that. If you're giving it to me, okay, then I want more and more and more, you know? And my mom was not seeing that this was just a typical behavior of a child. And so, yeah, she kind of thought that she couldn't really make me happy, but the thing that I really needed was her love and not the material possessions. But yeah, she just really couldn't say no. And like today you even see with her that she's unable to ask help as well. Like something in her house would be broken or something, and she can take up to years before she finally asks somebody to please help her out. It's like, yeah, it's really bad. It's really bad. So yeah, she's just, yeah, she doesn't feel like it's okay to say no, and she doesn't feel like it's okay to ask for help, which is actually not really helping her. And it actually makes me kind of sad as well, because it's like, oh my god, mom, please You are worthy to ask for help. Please ask me even, you know, I can find some people, I can do some things. But yeah, she just wants to do everything on her own and she really doesn't want to bother people. But of course, that's not healthy. Sign number 8 that you might be a people pleaser is, of course, that you feel drained a lot of the time. And this is something that I went into before. But yeah, if you feel energetically depleted often after doing things for other people, or you just, when you're alone, you don't really feel like doing anything, you just feel like going in complete rest or something, or you kind of get frustrated and anxious because you're like, what, like something is missing, I'm not feeling fulfilled, I'm feeling completely drained, and you don't know why. And it's probably because you're a people pleaser. We often feel depleted a lot of the time because we overextend ourselves, like I said before. And the funny thing is that if we feel depleted and energetically drained, we are actually not able to help people at all. It's like we're kind of setting ourselves up for failure or something. Sign number 9 that you are a people pleaser is that you constantly obsess over other people's opinions. You can probably see why. We look for the validation externally, so we are very concerned with people's opinions, just like in the example of having trouble with feedback, you know. It's kind of the same thing. You seem to not even care how you think about yourself. You only care about how others think of you. Like, I don't even think as a people pleaser, like if it's really bad, like of course some people have some tendency to people please, like me right now, but before it was so extreme that there wasn't even a self-concept or something. It was all the other, and what I did for the other, and it made me miserable. To be honest, it made me so miserable. So yeah, you tend to care a lot about what other people think of you. It can make or break your day. And of course, sign number 10 that you are a people pleaser, and this is just a complete summary of everything. You feel like if you do not help people, if you are not overextending yourself, if you're not people pleasing, you will never be able to be loved. You're kind of unlovable in some way. That's kind of the belief that you have about yourself. That's the only way to get love and receive love, is to completely put myself to the side. But that could not be further from the truth. Because like I said, people will just love you for the things that you do for them, but they won't love you because of you. Because maybe you don't even know who you are at this point, because you're so busy in the external. So it's not really an authentic kind of love. It's kind of also a mask, because you're just doing things that you are actually not able to do or keep up for a long time, and you are just overworking yourself, really. And the sad part is you will often get nothing in return, because you are only giving people the ability to love you for what you do for them and not for who you are. And I can tell you, loving yourself is very important. Knowing yourself is very important. And if we have really looked within and are okay with who we are, then people will tend to love us more for who we actually are. And okay, there will be a lot of people who will dislike you because you have learned to not be who you are and everything, and to completely attune to the other person. But it's normal that people don't like you. You don't have to be everybody's friend. You don't have to be nice all the time. It's so draining, and it's really not helping anybody. Give yourself some space, give yourself some time to get to know yourself, and finally find your power back, you know, and get the love that you actually deserve. And you can only find that through being yourself. And okay, a lot of people will fall out of your life, okay? I've been through this as well. Like, you stop people pleasing and people are shocked, but like shocked as hell. Like, why doesn't she do the things that she was doing before? Why is she all of the sudden stepping up for herself? It's completely normal, and those people were actually just using you for your kind gestures. So you don't really have to worry about that. They never really loved you for who you are in the first place. So that was my videos about 10 signs you are a people pleaser. If you like this video, don't forget again to subscribe and like this video, because it would really help my channel out. I want to get this information to as many people as possible who need it. Thank you for watching this video.